Hey, welcome back to the Artie Lange Show. My next guest is really one of the best stand-ups of my generation, and a guy who's had tremendous success now with arguably the most successful podcast out there. I was lucky enough to be a guest on it a couple of months ago. My God, people go nuts on Twitter. I never got a better response for anything I've ever done, internet-wise. And he's a good friend and going through some crazy stuff now with a ridiculous lawsuit. But I want to talk to him about that, a bunch of other things. The great Marc Maron's here. What's up, Mark?
How are you, Artie?
How you doing, buddy?
All right?
Yeah, everything's good. Again, I got to tell you, we haven't spoken since that interview, but thank you so much. You sold a lot of books for me, man.
Well, yeah, I wanted you to sell some books, Artie, because I'm always concerned, and I want to make sure that you have enough money.
Well, you helped out. I mean, that was, first of all, it was a great time, and you got a great setup there. It was great to be a guest on your show and see the setup officially for myself. But it was great to see how many people reacted on the internet to how much they love your show.
Well, you were a great guest. I mean, I understand where you're coming from. It's good when a couple of guys that had the courage to lose complete control of their lives for a decade, get together and try to put that decade or two together, and then feel better afterwards. It's a good thing.
Yeah, you were a perfect guy to talk to. It was a lot of fun. I'd love to do it again, but I really, really appreciate it. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on right now. Explain this lawsuit to me.
All right. Well, look, it's like, here's the deal. I this isn't really comedy because I get very heated.
That's all right. Go ahead. That's fine.
Well, the thing about talking about patent trolls or anything that has to do with lawyers, I get the same intensity I used to get when I was in the middle of a divorce. Because,
right.
The thing about lawyers and the thing about, any sort of litigation is that you start to realize that it can go on forever and it's not over until some guy raises his arms up and goes, how much will it cost to stop this garbage?
Exactly.
But the deal with the patent troll is that I'm not being sued, but Adam Carolla is being sued, and there are a couple of other podcasts being sued, and Adam's going to fight it. Now, what the patent trolls have done, this is an extortion racket done with the support of the U.S. Patent Office and the judiciary system.
Right.
These guys, these predatory lawyers, they buy these portfolios of old patents. All right, most of these patents were failed patents.
Right.
Some inventor drew a picture of something, registered it, tried to make a machine. It never got made. And then all of a sudden, like a few years before these things run out, before the patent runs out, these lawyers, they go, well, look, this seems to look like something that someone else made. Why don't we sue the guys using that?
Wow, what a scam that is. Jesus.
It's a complete scam, and it happens on a lot of different levels. But usually what these guys, these predatory lawyers who turn out these patent guys, the actual inventors or whoever made the picture, they want to make a payday. And these lawyers, they build their whole business on it. So what they generally do is what I got and what a lot of other guys got with these letters saying, hey, look, you're infringing on our license because we own the patent to podcasting. We want to talk to you about a licensing fee. But there's no number, there's no cost, there's no math there,
right,
or an amount, because it's an extortion thing. What they want you to do, they want to get you on the phone, and you're going to go like, well, how much is this license? And they're going to go like, how much you got?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Well, it's exactly what it is. And the thing is, none of us really engaged, and what they're usually banking on is that they know that in order to fight them, it costs $1 million because that's the way the judiciary system is sort of stilted in this country. So they pretty much are banking on the fact that you're going to be scared enough that you're going to pay them whatever the hell they want, so to protect you from them. It's a real racket.
Well, it's exactly how the mafia worked.
It's pure racketeering.
Yeah.
And the problem is they found this loophole in the patent system that is enabling to do this. The president's aware of this. Congress is aware of it, but that only means that maybe something will be done about it, 20 years from now.
Yeah.
So what's happening now is that Adams, he's on the front line because he's going to fight this thing.
Okay.
And what they've done is they found a sympathetic judiciary system in Texas. So all of them set up these little storefront businesses in Texas where nobody's there but maybe a copy machine and a phone. And that's where they do their suing from because they have a sympathetic judge there. So now Adams, they tried to get it moved to California. It's not going to happen. So he's got to get his team, his legal team, and the patent lawyers, and they got to go out. They got to go out there, and I believe it's actually a jury trial. And this inventor alongside of his, predatory lawyers that have turned him out like a little whore, are, going to sit there and try to make this inventor the victim, whereas, like, whatever he tried to invent, it didn't happen. And the way the patent system is supposed to work is, all right, you had a few years to do this. Now it re-enters the universe. But these predatory lawyers have figured out how to extend it, to sort of re-register it for it to fit an existing technology, and then just retrofit it onto it, and then say, look, you guys are using this illegally because we own the license to it.
Yeah, well, that's what happens. Right. The worst part about lawyers, like the people you're talking about, are they will sit back, and they really are bottom feeders. They will sit back and they see, or more than bottom feeders, I mean, they're parasites. They see people being successful at something. Like they see, you and Adam having a lot of success, and they say, "God, is there a way we could make money off of their success, and legally, and figure out a way to sue them?" That's the big word. And
I think generally, I think that type of lawyer is called a scumbag.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's what they are. Yeah, it's jealousy.
It's literally, I see, I have these thoughts. I'm like, do these guys have children?
Yeah.
I mean, what do they say to their children? We're trying to shake down a guy who does a podcast in his closet for $200.
Well, what is it?
That's what Daddy does.
From what I understand, this guy, whatever the company is called, Texas something or other. Personal Auto. Yeah, he invested like $1.3 or $1.6 million back in 1996. To try to create an MP3 player that would be able to download, different individual, sounds, music, broadcasts.
Episodes, individual episodes in like on a timer, on a regular basis.
Right. And then that didn't happen. That didn't work. The world wasn't ready for that, apparently. And the patent ran out. It was unsuccessful. And then he went back and, just like Mark said, retrofitted the patent to fit what they're using to broadcast these podcasts.
But
so he says after the fact, hey, I invented this, when in fact he's just created a patent that makes it look like he did.
What's really depressing about it is, Mark, is like, you're right, finding a judge that entertains it,
Well, yeah, because it's not done outside the law in a way. It's working, within a fairly, there's not a tremendous amount of efficient oversight, from what I understand, in the U.S. Patent Office. A lot of the systems are sort of archaic, and people don't pay. They just found a weak system, and they can do this, within the law. But the fact is, the sad part about it is like these type of scumbags is that you can sit there, you can get as many people riled up about it as you want, but they're not in the they're shameless. They're not looking. They don't care about bad PR.
That's right.
They're going to try to justify themselves and make this inventor look like a victim because, whatever the hell he designed, for whatever reason, whether the market was too competitive or someone came up with it, at the same time or whatever, all he really has is this drawing he did.
Yeah.
So, why does he, and the truth of the matter is none of us podcasters have any idea what the hell he's talking about.
Right.
We don't, we're using a server, we're using, existing technology, but the reason they're coming after the podcaster is that if you utilize the technology, that means you're infringing on their license. So it's like a proximity thing. Because they thought that, if we can nail one of these guys, that'll set a precedent, and then there's thousands of them. I don't know if what they want to do with their lives is sit around and sort of scare people that are making, no money on a podcast, and make them pay a $500 or $1,000 licensing fee. But the fact that they don't have a price in mind and they're looking for a percentage, I think they're coming at Adam for like $3 million, he said.
Wow.
He was like, that's $3 million.
Wow. Where do they come up with that figure, too? And that's a scary part, like coming up with a figure like that. But you made a good point. You can't look at these people from a perspective of a normal human being. They're sociopaths,
Yeah, they're sociopaths, and unfortunately, the American, business landscape is about, it's about 70-30, decent people, to complete sociopaths.
Right.
Because the problem is but this type of sociopath is very specific in that, like you said, they're parasites.
Yeah.
If you watch Wolf of Wall Street, which I thought was a spectacular movie.
Yeah.
And, every idiot who said, like, it wasn't that good because he didn't really pay for his crime. That wasn't what that movie was about. It was a celebration of an American business archetype.
Yep.
The guy who can, who finds suckers to give them money. The entire economy is built on that. But
right, exactly.
These guys are, and everybody, you're either a sucker or you're not, and that's the way it goes. But this is a different thing. These guys are using the law, they're bending the law to run an extortion racket, and they're coming after the end users, which are guys who are just doing podcasts, and they're basically shaking you down. It's coercive. The letters are coercive. The reason they sued Adam initially was, I think, to make an example to other podcasters so they could go, hey, look, Adam is being sued. Now, if you don't want that, it's like having the guy with the head in a vice.
Yeah.
See, look at that. We got his testicles are in a clamp. Look, he doesn't look happy. Why don't you give us money so this doesn't happen to you?
Exactly. That's all you need is one guy. Well, good for Adam.
I think it is good for Adam, and I'm happy he's fighting it because we all got together. It was funny when we all started getting these letters. No one knew what the hell they were, and we'd never heard of it. And the first reaction you have to them sending this thing to you, basically claiming that they own a patent for podcasting, is you sit there and go, "This is ridiculous. This is like completely ridiculous," and your brain just wants to dismiss it as some sort of crackpot garbage. And then, all of a sudden you realize, like, oh, they're really doing this.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if I think it's ridiculous. They have the law behind it.
It makes me mad because I know you're a guy who worked so hard for a long time, and you become successful at this thing you're amazing at. It's perfect for you. It's a perfect fit. Leads to other great things. TV show, blah blah blah. And now you got to deal with this crap. As a fellow comic, it makes.
Look, I'm not in the hot seat as much as Adam, and we got the Electronic Frontier Foundation. They got involved because they do this kind of stuff. They're a grassroots organization, and they funded a re-exam of the patent. That's another approach that you can take. Is that if you can find, here's the thing about it: if you can find prior art, which means if you can find either existing technologies that would kind of predate the technology that is patented, that looks like it would lead to that technology, then you can submit it to the patent office for a reevaluation. And if they say that this prior art or these pre-existing technologies or the actual natural evolution of technology would have led to this anyways, they can kind of void out the entire patent. But who the hell knows how long that'll take? Yeah. And the reason I'm talking about divorce and about lawyers in general is all the lawyer's job to do is to extend stuff for as long as possible so enough money gets drained from enough people that someone gets fed up and says, all right, I'll pay you.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, that hasn't happened, and and Adam's going to fight it. And I've just been encouraging people to help him with this defense fund, and let's fight this thing because I think it's the future of a medium that has a lot of potential.
Mark, let me take a quick break. Mark, can you hold on for a second?
Yeah, buddy.
Okay, we'll take a quick break. Back into it. Welcome back to the Artie Lange Show. The great Marc Maron's here. Mark, unfortunately, I wish I was on your podcast, because we have to hit commercial breaks, and I'm almost out of time. But I want you to plug this fund or whatever. Where can we donate some money to help out here?
I think I gave it to your producers. I think it's Fund Anything.
Yeah, let me see. I'm sorry, I got it. Yeah.
Patent Troll.
Yeah, Fund Anything, all one word. FundAnything.com/patent troll, and you could give some money for a good cause. And it really is. I'll tell you, if you let people get away with something like this, it really is. The country's in trouble.
That's absolutely right. It's not even a political issue. This is about the little guy versus scumbags.
Yeah. And, anyway. So real quick, the new show on IFC, everything going cool?
Oh, it's great, dude. I'm real proud of it. We did 13 episodes. They're all in the can. It premieres May 8th. You can see the first season of Maron on Netflix now if you want to get caught up. A lot of great guest stars. We had a lot of big range of people. We had CM Punk, Bill Burr, Dave Cross, Judd Hirsch, Sarah Silverman. It's crazy. I'm real happy with it. I'm excited, man.
I watched the whole first season. I'm a fan. I can't wait. May 8th for Maron on IFC. And I'll talk to you soon, brother. You be well. Good luck with everything.
All right. Take care of yourself, Artie. Thanks, man.
I will. And we'll plug the fund some more. The great Marc Maron. Help him out with that. Again, fundanything.com, patent troll. Back with Joey Waller after this.
The Artie Lange Show. Weeknights on Audience. Only on DirecTV.